Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukal Kadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching this truth and sincerity, and a shout out to Yakims out there on the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukal Kadash, Bracha Thum. So, the Israeli state, Amalek, which you won't hear about this in the mainstream, but you will catch it on RT and the alternative media, which I consider that the newer mainstream, because of course we don't trust CNN, Fox, or any of them others, but pretty much they're all saying the same thing, that Amalek has increased its aggression against Gaza, Palestine, and Lebanon to get into Syria. And there's also been an announcement that Donald J. Trump wants to increase his military in Syria because, of course, like everything else, though, they tried to flip the coin on the Aleppo chemical attack by saying that Bashar al-Assad and Vladimir Putin staged the event, which they have no need to do so. But you see, that's just it. Esau's trying to flip the coin because, of course, he's been exposed for all of his operations in Syria and around the world. And, of course, you got the starvation also happening in Yemen, because it's really an Edomite war against these places, because, of course, these nations, which all of them are going to turn against the dollar, and that's what's happening, is they're all beginning trades with each other because they want to trade with Persia and with Gog Magog. And so that's going to cause a worldwide economic collapse. Sorry about my dog in the background, but she gets distracted very easily when she sees other dogs. She also barks at Edomites. Anyhow, I just want to read out of Isaiah chapter 17, starting in verse 12. Woe to the multitude of many people, which woe we know is death. Death to the multitude of many people, which make a noise like the noise of seas, and to the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. Who's that talking about? Babylon the Great, Amerika, the whore that rides the beast. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. And what's that whirlwind talking about? Thermonuclear destruction. This war that they have in the Valley of Yehoshaphat, Syria, is going to end like a whirlwind. And it's when they take Damascus away from being a city, make it a ruinous heap. That's also in the same chapter here. And goddamn Esau fucking app has just stopped that has the Bible on it. Well, shit. All right, well, anyhow, I'll just continue on. Yeah, that's the devil for you. My app has stopped. So, anyhow, they are just going to continue their war against Syria and the region. Because, of course, they want to try to keep that check system. Because that's really what it is a check system. Hey, have you ever been in check systems because your account got overdrawn, but yet it wasn't your fault? Yet, the bank was, putting you at a negative. So, pretty much the American check system, that is the dollar system, because that's all that a dollar is that it's a check, it's a promissory note, a Federal Reserve note, so a promise to pay. So basically, America has wrote checks all over the world, and they're hot. They're hot checks. You don't think that all these nations ain't going to want to collect on their payment? And that's why you see Moab conspiring, which Moab has deceived Edom. So Moab is, which better known as China, has pretty much, they devalued their currency a long time ago just to bypass the dollar, and of course are trading with the BRICS system, which includes that, because BRICS stands for Britain, yes, Britain, or no, not Britain, because that's the Brexit system, but Brexit came as a part of BRICS. Pretty much they wanted to be independent from the EU and NATO as well. But pretty much the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and of course South Africa. All these nations have their own system called the BRICS system. Well, then Brexit would come. So all these nations really want to keep the deal, including the EU, UN, NATO wants to keep the deal that they had with Persia on the table. But you see, Edom Amalek, and particularly, pretty much, because Donald J. Trump works for the Rothschilds, pretty much broke the deal, and so all these other countries are trading without the sanctions, without the U.S. sanctions. So they're tired of the whore. All right, it looks like I got the app working again. Isaiah chapter 17 and verse 1. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being in the city, and it shall become a ruinous heap. The cities of Aurora forsaken shall be flocks, which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. The fortress shall also cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom of Damascus and the rim of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. So what does this mean? The so-called white man, the devil, Esau, is going to come after both at the same time. And we can see that with ICE and ISIS. If you hadn't caught my previous videos, that pretty much... ICE is the immigration control enforcement, while ISIS is is Israeli Secret Intelligence Services, which is pretty much a false flag group that they use to pretty much say that we're fighting a war of terror. You know, we're trying to take out the terrorist groups. But United States pretty much created the terrorist groups, their proxies, which is pretty much run through Amalek. And so pretty much, it says here, it's at verse 5 of Isaiah chapter 17, because we know that what's going to happen is, as they do this, and it shall be as when the harvestman gathereth the corn and reapeth the ears with his arm, and it shall be as he that gathereth in ears in the valley of Rephaim. Yet gleaning grapes shall be left in it, as the shaking of an olive tree, 2 or 3 berries in the top of the uttermost bough, 4 or 5 in the outmost fruitful branches thereof, saith the Lord Yahweh of Israel. And in that day shall a man look to his Maker, and his eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel, and he shall not look at the altars, the work of his hands, neither shall respect that which his fingers have made, either the grooves or the images. So pretty much all these false images and everything else, though, it's because the Most High is going to visit this place. And it's talking about how our people are going to come back. Because thou hast forgotten the power of thy salvation, and hast been mindful of the rock of thy strength. Therefore shalt thou plant pleasant things, and shalt set it with strange lips. In that day shalt thou make thy plant to grow, and in the morning shalt thou make thy seed to flourish, but the harvest shall be as a heap in the day of grief and of desperate sorrow. And this place, Babylon Great, is a constant sorrow, you can plant pleasant things, but you can't really, because of course, we lost our kingdom a long time ago. Our kingdom had fallen to the so-called white men. Pretty much this used to be a beautiful place called Arsrith. And all of our tribes of the northern kingdom all lived amongst each other peacefully. And you had some of the southern tribes as well, like what as Haitians today. All those places were there, but, what had happened is we were taken down. And so this place, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed very shortly here. And it says to come out of her, my people, be not partakers. Well, a lot of our people are celebrating that bullshit Christmas, and singing those fucking Christmas carols. Got, all their lights up, the tree, the wreath around the house. They're going to celebrate that bullshit, and they say, oh, it's just for the kids, the same excuses that they make every year. The same reasons why they'll celebrate birthdays, or they'll celebrate Easter, or they'll celebrate all of it. But yet, this is the very thing that's going to destroy them. Because as well as I do, it has a wicked foundation. If you haven't seen the previous video, which started out, which I like to clip a bunch of videos together of other brothers that are doing the work, because it's just me with a selfie stick, a one-man camp. But yet I'm worth 1,000, because I know what my value is. I'm not going to be like that other guy that Yahweh Shai was talking about that buried his talent in the backyard just because I'm a one-man camp. No, I'm worth 1,000, so I just take that, and I'll also take what other brothers are doing, and I'll clip it together and reshare it, because that's what I can do as one man, as well as do the best I can to teach in the meantime. But also, study and learn what I've learned and reshare it, because really, truly, though, it's all about that. It's not about how many views you get. It's not about how popular you are. Popularity means nothing. As you know, this place is about to be destroyed, and they're telling, DHS is saying that in 6 months, they're telling the people to prepare now for the calamities, and you're seeing Black Hawk helicopters practicing all the time. What do you think Jade Helm was about in 2015? They've been planning this collapse for a long time, and Donald J. Trump is just getting things started. He plans to shut down the government. All this is being purposed by Esau, the so-called white man, because he knows that he has a short time, because he sees all of us out here. And there's a lot more like me that are one-man camps that are now starting to pop up in places. So it's happening. The awakening is happening. That means that the elect are being sealed. And so that means that Esau's only got a short time now to get that. And 2019 is going to be the year he pushes the mark of the beast, the RFID implant. That's why he's got everybody on the real ID systems, that they have to get real ID, which is going to be replaced with the chip, with the mark. So for all that, in the meantime, just teach what you know, and which is what I'm doing, and go out there. And like everything else, though, repent of all these things, because, we haven't much time left, It's time to come out of Babylon and get away from the things that we were taught, which were all lies. So for all that, I want to say, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakal Kadash, Barak Atam. Hope this has been edifying. Shalom. Death to America and death to the 2/3.